They had to just know how to be a hard worker to work. And many of our grandparents didn't give us a second, third grade education. And some of them, they never finished high school, and talking about college was not, some of us are first generation college students. Amen. What an accomplishment. And they grew up under harsh conditions. Old master was cruel. He was heartless. He was unmerciful. In spite of all of the ill treatment, in spite of all of the injustices, in spite of all of the humiliation that they went through, the black men and black women, they kept coming. Look at somebody and say, we come this far by faith. We come this far by faith. And you must understand that during the years of slavery, while they were in slavery, the black man was stripped of his manhood. No matter what age he was. I don't care. To the white man, no care how old he was, they still called him boy. He could be a gray hair and beard and boy, come over here. They would call him boy and make no difference what age he was. And men was taken from their families. They were auctioned off like cattle. To the highest bidder. Women were stripped of their dignity. They were left in the fields uncovered and barefoot, working in the fields just as hard as the men. Many of them were raped and had children. Cruel and harsh, inhumane treatment. But guess what? We come this far by faith. They kept on coming in spite of what they did. I didn't grow up in the South. I grew up in Pennsylvania, but my father did. He's from the state of Georgia. And oftentimes he would tell me stories about how blacks were treated when he was a child. Everything was segregated. The water fountain, you couldn't drink from the same water fountain. It would say colors and whites only. Had to go to the back door to get certain things. Couldn't go through the front door. Couldn't go to school and talk about the Ku Klux Klans and the lynching mobs and how they lynched blacks. When they were finally able to go to school, they had old rundown schools and old outdated textbooks and all of these things. But guess what? We come this far back. All the yards against the yards. I grew up in the heart of the civil rights movement. I remember in the 50s when Emmett Till was brutally beaten to death because he whistled at a white woman. Medgar Evers was shot and killed down because he wanted to go to college there in Mississippi. The sitting at the restaurants and the marching boycotts just to get equality. Just for a right to vote, just for a right to live anywhere, a right to go to college. As American citizens, they were our rights. But we had to fight for them. Some people gave their lives. Y'all know about Martin Luther King, don't you? It had to be an amendment to the Constitution before we as American citizens could be respected to have our rights. Black folks, everyone should know what amendment is that. Y'all don't even know, young folks. The 14th Amendment. Look how young folks. Y'all know the 14th Amendment was given so that we could have a right to have rights. And today, just like I just showed you, young folk, they don't know. Some don't even believe it. I remember when I was teaching at Jefferson Junior High, and one of the young folks said, they really put the dog on the folk. They didn't believe that those things took place. They didn't believe all the things. They don't have a clue about the struggle. They don't understand what our foreparents and our great-grandparents went through as a race of people. A heritage that's so strong because we had to make it in the life with all of the odds against us. We're stubborn. We got strong wills, and we got women that are standing strong because they had to take care of the house and take care of the home, against all odds. They came up, and we grew up in a society where it didn't matter, it didn't make any difference how beautiful your voice was. There were many states that they were not allowed to sing in. It didn't matter how legible their handwriting was. There were some documents that they could not sign. It didn't matter how they yearned to pray and get on their knees before God. But there were some churches and altars that they could not allow. They weren't allowed to go in. They weren't allowed to kneel. Well, y'all hear me? Why? Because the South was segregated. Certain places they weren't allowed to go. Certain things they weren't allowed to do. Didn't matter how domestically inclined they were. There were some houses they could not live in.
Yes, sir.
Many neighborhoods before white folks.
That's right.
And it was even written in the deeds of many houses that the realtor could not sell certain houses to, well, y'all don't use the N-word anymore, but he couldn't sell it to black folk. I got a man that works with me right now, Brother Hawks. He wanted, Dad used to own the Buick place. He used to work with it. He showed me the document. His property there, right there on the university, were allowed to sell to blacks. Allowed, it was in the realtor. No matter how qualified we were, there was some job that we could not have. And then the job that we did have were, we were the last one hired and the first one fired. Oh, look at somebody say, we come this far. By faith, Marvin Sapp reminds us all that we never will have made it. Never could have made it without you. And he was talking about God being on our side. Can I be with this? Let me give you just the civil rights timeline, and I'll be brief. I'm about to. I am. But you remember, the Emancipation Proclamation didn't happen until 1863. That's when Abraham Lincoln was president, and he emancipated, he freed the slaves. Now, my God, here we are, men, and we have to be free. Here we are, owned by the white man, and have the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, how can you're a man and have to fight for your freedom? A man has to have a law, grew up in America, born in America, but yet you have to have a law to establish the fact that you're free. Kind of like Christopher Columbus discovering America. Isn't it a joke? It was already here. Native America was already discovered. Well, okay. The Emancipation Proclamation was in 1863, but it was 5 years later, it was in 1868, when the 14th Amendment was written. The amendment to our Constitution. The Constitution to give us rights as all Americans. Then they had to have the 15th Amendment in 1870. 2 years later, they gave us a right to vote. Even though we had a free one, we weren't allowed to vote. That's why people don't understand why y'all won't register. Young folk, y'all won't register. Did you not know that in 1909 the NAACP was established because it was a riot in Springfield, Illinois? They had a riot in Springfield. That established the NAACP. 1947, Jackie Robinson. He became the first black player in Major League. Blacks weren't allowed. They had their own league. Weren't allowed to go to the big league. But Jackie Robinson, he broke the, yeah. 1954. That was that, the Supreme Court, they banned segregation in public school. Brown versus the Board of Education. That was no more segregated schools. One just separate but equal. They say, yeah, you can have your schools, and the white schools over here, the black schools over here. And they try to say, we're separate, but we're equal. But they weren't equal. Because they had the best of teachers, had the best of books, they had the best of money. The blacks had, oh, come on. But they said, no more segregation in 1954. In 1955, that's when Rosa Parks said, I ain't giving up my seat. The blacks were not allowed to ride in the front of the bus. And if a white person come in, they were sitting in the front, they had to give up their seats. Y'all look at me, young folk. She said, I'm not going to give up. And that started the march there in the Montgomery bus boycott. And here is when Martin Luther King came to the forefront, leading the marches and all of that. In 1957, that's when the governor of Arkansas stood, Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas, just a few miles from where my son is right now. George. He stood there and he wouldn't allow them to go into the school. And President Eisenhower had to send the National Guard. Oh, y'all weren't born, man. Y'all weren't even born, man. In the 1960s, that's when they started having the city and then the commerce. And went to the Woolworths down there in North Carolina, Greensboro. That city, and then they started the Freedom Riders. Riding and they get on the buses. And you had whites join in with the blacks to ride down to different states down in the South to allow them to eat and blacks to eat anywhere they wanted to.